welcome back to Murder Made Fiction, a podcast that looks at fictionalized adaptations of true crimes. I'm Joe.
And I'm Amanda.
All right, Amanda, are we ready to close out our month on John List with possibly the most ridiculous text we have covered?
We absolutely are.
Oh boy. So folks, we are talking about Stepfather, and this is a very recent film. So it just debuted on Tubi back in, I think, June. And we're going to say there's no content warning because the pussy does not die.
Yeah. Choices were made in this movie is I think the simplest way I can boil that down. Mm-hmm. Just choices with a capital C, because
so true.
Oh boy.
Okay, so Amanda, before we dig into this, I need to know, do you watch some of these Tubi originals? Because
of course.
In some ways, I look at this and say, yeah, it's utterly ridiculous because it's a Tubi original. So what did we expect?
No, we expected ridiculous. Tubi is almost like the new Lifetime.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
I remember growing up and watching Lifetime movies, and those are utterly ridiculous. Like, I remember there's a title called She's Too Young, and it's all about teenagers having sex and getting syphilis with Marcia Gay Harden. And I'm just like, what? Or, you know, Double Daddy or Too Young to Be a Father. Like, those were the absurd movies that I watched in my teen years. So this just feels like the extension of those.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it absolutely does. And I don't think I've watched any other films from writer-director Chris Stokes or Christopher B. Stokes, but I have seen other people comment that this is very much on par for his oeuvre.
So he's credited as Chris Stokes in this movie, and my brain did not do any connecting there. But you just said he's also Christopher B. Stokes, and that name does ring a bell for me.
Okay. Well, if you want to look him up as I walk us through some of the rest of the production stuff, go ahead.
Might, yeah.
Okay, so because this is a Tubi original, we do not have a budget and we have no gross, because obviously this will never play theatrically. It was only ever intended to air on Tubi. Because it's a relatively new film, and honestly, they just dropped this. Tubi can sometimes be really, really shit at advertising, so we only have 5 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes, so there's no score currently, but it does have a 2.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd. I think if you go into this expecting something serious, you're probably going to be pretty disappointed. I think there's one shining star of this entire movie. That would be Taye Diggs. He is the one anchoring this whole fucking enterprise. I wish it was Cuckoo Bananas more. Like, I wish that this was just bigger.
Well, I agree. Like, after the first murder, he breaks out into a dance break.
Yes.
I wanted more of that.
Yes, I wanted more ridiculous energy, and sometimes this movie feels like it's playing it too straight. And then, as you said, there are just some choices, particularly when we get to the cops, to the point that I've dedicated an entire section for us to just talk about them.
Okay, so Chris Stokes has an entire movie series called The Stepmother.
Oh.
Yep.
Telling.
He also has The Stepdaughter.
Okay. I did know that one existed. I didn't realize that was him.
Wow.
Interesting. Okay, well, let's quickly walk through this timeline. So we begin in 1990 with 10-year-old Leon, who is played by August Dantis, and he basically allows his abusive stepfather, Harold, who is played by Kenneth J. Morgan, to die of a heart attack, but only after Harold beats him with a belt.
Yep. Yeah, no, there's no culpability here. Not at all.
Yeah.
Also, this kid looks nothing like Taye Diggs.
No.
Nothing at all.
I do appreciate when we're meant to go from small, thin, delicate child to hulking, Taye Diggs
but it's
looks
the face.
Like a fucking football player.
It's the face. There is no facial similarity between these two.
No. We said, we need a black child in here, and we found the first one. Yes,
they're just like, oh, he's a skinny kid, sure. But I'm like, okay, but
he still has to grow into Taye Diggs.
this kid's never gonna, like, they have entirely different skin tones, they have different bones, there's nothing about them that looks the same. And look, Taye Diggs he has bulked up more as he's gotten older.
Yeah.
You know, when he was in Rent, he was thinner. He was less bulky muscle.
Yeah,
so,
he was toned, but he wasn't big. And here it's like, oh, you've been working out for 30 years.
Yes, and that's fine. Yes, the kid can still be a skinny, scrawny kid. But this kid's face looks nothing like Taye Diggs.
Okay, so we get the first of several time jumps in this film. We go from 1990 to present day, and this is, I think, meant to be 2026. And we see that Leon, as I'll call him for now, has just killed his current family. And then he does a big performance for the cops where he's very tearful, very sad. And then we see Darnell. This is the new name he'll be going by. He has a meet cute with Asia, who is played by Tamar Braxton, as well as her suspicious younger daughter, Sasha, who is played by Kalani Jules, once again in a grocery store. And this is happening after Asia has broken up with her cheating husband, Timothy, who is played by TJ Shaw. So we get another time jump. This is too many time jumps in too short amount of time, but it's 6 months, and this time Darnell has just married Asia. So they eloped without much fanfare. That didn't really involve any of her family. And we realize that Darnell has never actually met Asia's oldest daughter, Melanie, who is played by Jessica Gerald. So she comes home to visit with her boyfriend, Brad, who is played by Kota Kalani Bashen. And this is their first sort of meeting. Melanie is very much on the side of Darnell because she likes that her mother is finally happy. And we can see that even though 6 months have passed, Sasha has not come around.
These time jumps are confusing.
Yeah.
It's just too many too quickly.
Exactly. Yes. And we did a very similar thing in 2009's The Stepfather.
This has one more time jump than that one does.
Exactly. Like, it's fine to do, okay, we murdered a family and then we do a time jump and you're just like married to a new woman. I think it's the brevity of the meet cute scene in the grocery store and then it's just like they're married. And I think you could have just done a transition.
Part of the issue here is that we start in the past because we're really trying to explain his behavior, and we are going to discuss the extreme, like, this is a big knock against this movie in a way that the 2009 doesn't do anything to explain why he is the way he is, because it's not about coming up with a bogus mental health diagnosis. It's just that he's a narcissistic, douchey man.
Which is great. It's what I want. I don't need anything more complicated than that.
But also the meet cute in the 09 movie is kind of sweet, Here, he's kind of negging her.
Yeah, we're doing weirdly backhanded compliments like, oh, okay, well, I could cook better than you. Maybe you don't actually know what you're doing. And I mean, I think it's meant to be a bit of a testament that Asia doesn't have a firm footing.
Agreed. And there are and I'm not opposed to that, but we don't do a great job of creating her character for this to work.
No, we're back in Susan territory from 2009. And okay, I'll quickly jump us through the rest of the plot and then we can just compare this to 2009 because, spoiler alert, folks, this is a remake of the 2009 film, not the 1987 film and not John List.
It's the 2009 movie with some like 1960s level of psychobabble.
Yes, it is. Okay, so we do have several police officers or detectives in this movie. So we have Detective Bronson, who is the oldest guy. He's the guy that interviewed Taye Diggs back when he was still fleshing out his murder pattern. So after the first set of murders, this is the guy who interviewed him. He's played by Daryl Phillip. And then we have a new detective who joins the case. He's young. He's a hothead. He doesn't care about working with anybody. This is Detective John Simmons, who is played by Maz Dante Brown. And then we also have a lady detective. So Detective Andrews, who is played by Jeneline Hayes, who I wanted to like because I thought, well, surely we're going to partner up John Simmons with somebody who is level-headed so that we can do the like kind of good cop, bad cop vibe.
You mean they all suck and have some of the most wild dialogue I have ever heard?
Yeah, we will get there. But they do eventually start to close in, because even though they all suck, they do start to put together the pieces.
I think after I watched this movie, I described the script to my husband as, this is like if someone saw a comedian on TikTok do a video making fun of these kinds of movies and doing dialogue that is just over the top, and then thought, oh, yes, that's how you write this. Without realizing, no, that's the joke.
Yeah. Because a lot of their stuff, in particular, the police stuff, it all just feels like a joke, which tonally does not match the rest of the film, and the rest of the film is not doing that kind of stuff. So it just, it feels like we're watching two very different films.
Yep.
All right. So Darnell is suffering hallucinations. He has violent episodes whenever he becomes disappointed. It's very typical stepfather kind of stuff. And we eventually move our way towards a climax where Timothy and Brad both wind up getting killed, and Asia ends up having to shoot Darnell when he tries to strangle Melanie, because by this point, her boyfriend has been killed and she has become more suspicious of him. But in tried and true formula, because we love a sequel setup, Darnell escapes from the police and he reappears. Folks, one more time job. 1 year later, and now he is playing the role of Jovan.
His escape makes even less sense in this movie than it does.
I know.
I'm just like, wait, no. That doesn't... He's been shot and he's inside the house. How is he... How did he get out?
Yeah, at least in 2009, it was, we fell one story off the roof and then he just disappeared. Here it's like, we shot him. And then he's just gone.
And the cops were actively on their way over in this movie, whereas in the others, like, no one had called the cops. So there was no reason. There was real time between the fight and the cops arriving, whereas here, they're already on their way there.
Yeah, it's just badly plotted.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay, so let's talk about all the carryover elements from the 2009 film. So we've already talked about a couple of these. We have the grocery store meet cute. We have a cheating ex-husband. We have the sequel setup at the end. And then there's one other piece. We get an almost direct repetition of the line, he deserves an Oscar if he did it, or some approximation. I'm paraphrasing. But the cops basically say if he could deliver that kind of performance, then he deserves an Oscar.
Yeah, no, this really is the 2009 movie, and they're just taking a lot of the plot beats from that, and then going back to it being daughters instead of a son.
Right. Yes. And I will say, I think that the daughter stuff plays better here. Like we talked about how Penn Badgley versus Dylan Walsh, it had potential, but they didn't really capitalize on the fact that it was a younger man and a hotter middle-aged man. And here, I think going back to the daughter sort of works a little bit better.
I agree. I do think it works, especially when some of this is leaning into the sexist ideals of father knows best and being the man of the house. And yeah, we said they really could have done something fun in the 2009 movie and just didn't. But I also like the daughter who is the bigger of the two characters in this is the younger daughter.
Right. She's really the more suspicious one. And I do like the scene where Darnell gives her a box to help with her first period, because it toes that line between I'm trying to win you over. Like, it's not him giving her a puppy, but it is him saying, I could be a person in your life who you could rely on or you could lean on. And it's not him being too overbearing, but by this point, she doesn't want him in her life in that role. Like, she really does like her father still. The dad in this film is like, he's a cheater, but he comes to his senses, so he's not as bad.
He's not a bad dad.
Yes.
He's a bad partner.
He's a bad husband.
Yeah. Okay, when we first meet Asia and Timothy, again, the dialogue in that scene, I was cackling. I was just, the amount that I laughed through this movie, because just the way that the dialogue is written, it's so on the nose. It's like hyper performative. It's like you're watching a drag show almost, in the sense that, like, drag is its performance and it's big. It's something that's heightened. Now, of course, when you're going to a drag show, that's intentional.
Right.
here it's not. But that's like my biggest, I think, parallel is that it's so heightened in a way that does this movie want us to take it seriously? Like, what does it want us to feel? Because there's a post before the movie begins for the National Domestic Abuse Hotline and about mental illness. And then this is what we see.
Come on. You can't. That to me is the film's biggest struggle, is that it can't decide if it wants to be campy fun, which it certainly is in certain points, but sometimes, it's questionable whether that's intentional, or does it want to be a bit of a serious mediation on domestic and intimate partner violence?
Which makes me think there were
can't do both.
You can't. That's the thing. And that makes me think there were no consultants on this, actually.
God, no.
And I'm also saying this as someone who has made a movie about a domestic abusive relationship and like these steps that we took to ensure that we weren't doing something offensive. Like, you know, we had consultants. We had an intimacy coordinator who was coming from a sex work background. We did audience testing to say, hey, how does this track for you? You know, and a lot of people who had been in similar situations were who we tested it on. So, you know, I'm saying this as someone who has gone through those steps. And we also, the first Stepfather movie, the 1987, was directed by the guy who did Sleeping with the Enemy, which is actually a very good depiction of a woman breaking out of an abusive relationship. Yeah. And so you can see that in that, he actually put the thought into it. You know, he balanced yes, things are going to be heightened because this is a movie. There's also a degree of catharsis that you want because you have seen this woman go through shit. You know that you want her to get out of it at the end, but balanced it with an actual terrifying performance from a male lead and actually thought about the steps that went into it. I'm not saying don't give me campy garbage. I love campy garbage, but you have to know how you're balancing it and where the camp is and why you're doing it. And I don't even think that you can't make a movie with a similar plot line to this and not have it be campy. You just need to know why and when and how.
Yeah, this feels a little too slapdash, and I'll confess I don't know what the time frame is for creating a Tubi film.
Very fast.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends on if this was an acquisition by Tubi after the fact, or if they put the money up front.
Right. Yeah. This is a Tubi original, so I think it's them putting the money up front.
Either, though. That could be either. I know movies that were made and then acquired by Tubi and still are labeled the Tubi original.
Okay.
And then I know movies where Tubi gave them money up front and it still gets the Tubi original. Lifetime does the same thing. They'll acquire things after the fact and label them Lifetime originals.
Okay. So we don't know in this case, but it all feels like it came together quickly, and that, I mean, I will put it out there that I don't think anyone was consulted, and I don't think that anyone really considered, we should think about how this is being conveyed. But let's talk about the best-selling feature that this movie has. So Mr. Taye Diggs in a triple role as Leon, Darnell, and then Kennedy is the persona that he's playing when he opens the film and murders his first family. What do we think of Taye Diggs in this movie?
Look, he's chewing the scenery.
Yes.
And I love that. I wanted more of those dance breaks. I wanted the extreme camp. I did. I wanted this to be a little bit irreverent. Like, I wanted it to acknowledge, okay, we're towing a fine line and we're playing with things that could be offensive. So we're going to do the thing where we extend it even further so that you know we're making a commentary.
Right.
So every time he got to do the most,
yes,
I loved. That was great. Other performances in this movie,
oh boy. Yeah, I actually felt actively bad for Tamar Braxton.
Me too.
I don't have a relationship with her. I've definitely seen her in another, maybe one or two of these kinds of films. Like, she does, I think, do Lifetime and Tubi and that kind of stuff. Like, this is a bit of her bread and butter. And she's totally fine. It's not her fault, but this character of Asia is uninteresting to me.
It's a poorly written character. I think, Taye Diggs is the only one who knows how to deliver the lines that he is given in this movie and somehow sell them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, to quote the kids of yesteryear, he understood the assignment. He knows exactly what he's doing in all of these scenes. And I do think that Tamar Braxton was probably told, okay, you're the straight woman because you're, the intimate partner violence recipient of this. So you need to be blinds drawn over the eyes because you're not seeing what's going on until the moment that you do. And then you kind of get a moment at the end where you're going to protect your children. But it's never the most interesting role in any of these films.
No, I do think the mom in the original movie is the best drawn character.
Yes.
I also think it might be the best performance, that there's more interiority that actress is bringing to her character than we get. Here, all subtext is dialogue.
Yeah. Yeah.
There is no subtext whatsoever. And that's, you could do that intentionally for funsies. You could do that to make a statement. It's fine. Honestly, break the rules if you know what you're doing. Cool.
But it's not what this film is doing.
No.
And that's the problem.
And then also you just get the issue of you get the scene where Timothy tries to kiss her and then Darnell goes absolutely...
Yeah, hog wild on him.
Yeah. And starts attacking him, and then her trying to defend Darnell's behavior to the police is like, no, this was way out of left field.
Yeah, that needed to be the giant red flag of, okay, we need to separate. I need some time to think. I've never seen this side of you before. It shouldn't have been, oh, well, Timothy, he set him off. Or so. It's like, girl, no. No.
If you could be set off that easily, we have a huge problem called you.
Yeah. Okay, what do you think of the daughters? Because I like both the performances, but they just don't ultimately get to do much.
Agreed.
I kind of like Jarrell as Melanie because Melanie feels, I don't know, both daughters feel believable to me.
And they're different characters. I appreciate they don't seem like the same person.
Yes, agreed.
I can remember them. I do not remember the two younger children in the 2009 movie.
Oh, God. I couldn't even tell you the genders of those younger children.
Right.
The 2009
I know
film.
they were there.
Yeah. I think Melanie gets to do some interesting things because she goes from being supportive to being slightly creeped out by him to being, oh, something's not right. I think that Kalani Jules does a good job with Sasha, but it is more one note. It's, I don't trust this guy and I don't like him, and it stays that way throughout the whole film.
I think part of the issue is that we spend so much time on your favorite cops instead of letting these daughters be characters.
I can't.
And the first two movies hinge on the child or children and how they feel about the new stepfather. And that's the thing. The first two movies are significantly more domestic. It is about the fear within the home. And that works better because so there's this journalist I know who his whole thing was like following Whitey Bulger for 30 years. Wrote a book, like he is the name, he is who gets interviewed. But one of his biggest pieces was about this really, really small story about just a teenage girl in Worcester, Massachusetts. And it like won a Peabody Award and whatnot. And he said that what really resonates with people are the smaller stories. It's the things that, you expect it to be the huge thing, but it's actually the small thing because people look at that and they can relate. And that is what works better about the original Stepfather plot lines is that it is smaller scale. It is about the home because that's where the fear is. And I mean, this is also what we've said this before with other movies where they just give too much of a cop plot line where it takes away from what the story is because who cares?
Yeah, and like we kind of did a little bit of this in the 2009 version, but not too much. And that movie has a much more substantial runtime. It's nearly 20 minutes longer than this film. This movie is 85 minutes long. We don't have time to be spending with 3 different police detectives in this film who add zero value
and
to the film.
The therapist lady who really just confused me.
Okay. Well, which of these non-starters do we want to discuss first? Do we want to talk about Dr. Marcia, who was played by Lisa Ann Loggins?
Let's do that. Let's get there, because when we meet her and she's like, "You got to understand, this is so traumatic for him." I'm like, "Wait, so you know he's been going around killing people? He's not that smart. How has this man not been caught?"
Yeah, he's been killing multiple people for years, and this bitch knew, and we're pleading some kind of doctor-patient confidentiality,
That's not
but
how it
also
works.
not.
But see, here's the thing. Here's doctor-patient confidentiality. Okay, so you go to your therapist and you say, "In the past, I killed someone." You're right. That therapist cannot go to the police and say that. But if you go to your therapist and you're like, "It's not going well, I have to do it."
Right.
You are
they
actively
have to report it.
And he literally does that.
Yeah.
He literally says, "I have to do this." And she's so, girl, what the fuck?
And the movie tries to hand wave it away by saying, well, she doesn't know where he's calling from, so she can only try to talk him down whenever Darnell or whatever iteration he is playing.
Because you call the cops and then they do a trace on his phone, because apparently he's not switching his phone or anything. I don't know how they have not tracked this man down.
No, it makes absolutely no sense. Like, we complained about how in the 2009 version, the Dylan Walsh character hadn't done quite enough to assume a new identity. And it's even weaker here to the point where they don't even know who he is, though. They're
Which
like, oh, we're
no
stumped on
sense.
his murder.
Because she knows exactly who he is.
Yes.
Like, when she gave us that backstory, I was like, okay, for one thing, this is not, the mental health rep here, oh boy. That's,
oh boy.
Geez, yikes. But also, I'm sorry, you know that he's just been traveling the US and killing families, and you know when he's going to kill them, and you have not actively done anything. You are culpable now. You have become an accomplice.
Yeah. So Dr. Marcia has apparently been treating him since he was 10-year-old Leon. So she has this fulsome relationship with him over his entire adult life. And she, is totally ready to diagnose him when the police arrive. So she says that he has extreme trauma that has led to him resorting to substance abuse in order to treat his bipolar and schizophrenia, and he has hallucinations. And this just gets dumped like a jar of exposition over the whole thing. And I kind of get it, because we want to be able to set the stage for what comes when Taye Diggs goes to the motel room so that he can kind of dissociate and have a conversation with his other selves, which I do think is a great scene in this film.
It's a great scene. Yeah.
It's a fantastic showcase for Taye Diggs, because I think he differentiates between all of the personalities super duper well. I have seen a bunch of people, myself included, in my review for Bloody, say this feels like a low-key split, and that movie got huge backlash to its portrayal of DID, because this is movie representation.
We've also discussed DID before, and that is...
It's contentious.
It's a very contentious thing, and it's also just... A lot of movies, when they try to do it, and we talked about it with the Boston Strangler as well, that for one thing, we're trying to portray it in these movies, it's kind of like have your cake and eat it too. Right. Where they're saying he doesn't know what he's doing, but he does know what he's doing. This isn't Norman Bates, who there's a switch that gets flipped, and when he is the mother persona, actually has no active idea or knowledge of his identity. You know? And that's like, again, is that great? No, but it is the 1960s, and at least it is much more clear in how this works and what it means and why and what has caused this. Here it's just like, oh, well, he just flies off the handle, a switch gets flipped. But no, he fully knows every different. So then when he is freaking out at Asia, it's like, who am I here? Who am I? Well, that's showing me that you are creating personas and you know who they are. That is an active choice. That is not what DID, no matter how contentious it is, that's not what that would be. That would be you having a different persona within you, basically. And when you switch into that one, it has no knowledge of the others.
Right. Yeah.
You don't talk to each other. Like, that's just not how... That's not what this means. And of course, we're throwing around bipolar and schizophrenia here. Look, he's got...
Completely different things.
He's probably got complex post-traumatic stress disorder, without a doubt, based on his own history. Going through trauma does not make someone bipolar or schizophrenic.
Mm-mm.
That has to do with your brain chemistry. Both of those tend to be genetic. So, if you have a parent who has one of those, there's a good chance that you will end up diagnosed with it. You cannot give someone bipolar disorder or schizophrenia.
Yeah.
You cannot traumatize someone into having one of those personality disorders.
Yeah. It's outdated.
Yep.
It's lazy. It's what we've always done in Hollywood films. And yeah, I would be much more willing to accept it if this wasn't a movie from fucking 2026. But this feels more akin to one of those 1960s films that we've discussed.
I would actually be more okay with them using DID instead of bipolar and schizophrenia, because that one, contentious as it is actually acknowledged as being the result of trauma,
Right.
not like a genetic personality disorder that comes from your brain chemistry and genetics, but is caused by trauma. And that's part of why it's so contentious. But yeah, it's 2026. Did we not consult anyone?
No, we didn't even look it up in the dictionary or some
Nope.
kind of medical.
And I've also said how I really dislike when we have a character who is villainous and we try to excuse away their villainy by slapping on mental health labels, because it both stigmatizes people who actually have, bipolar, schizophrenia, any of these, and it excuses away their behavior.
Mhm.
And then it's also not shown in a way that's actually accurate. What I'm seeing is a man who is actively making the choices to kill people because they make him upset, because they disappoint him. Oh, that's another line that was copied about maybe they disappointed him.
Right.
He has that line in this too.
Yeah, there are a couple of callbacks, and they very clearly are just callbacks to the original film specifically. I think the movie feels confused, though, because in some ways it wants to use this diagnosis to explain away why he's doing some of this. But then also, this doctor character is honestly, I think, depicted as a fucking idiot. So when she says something like, now I know it's really sad for the families he's done this to, but he needs help. And you're just like,
they're dead. Sad for the family. They're dead.
Yeah.
He murdered them.
I threw up my hands and just went, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, at that scene, I was just like, wait. Holy, she's known this what?
Yeah. So I can't even take anything that she's saying seriously. And
Sure,
I
she
don't
should
know
lose
if,
her
again, that
license.
is the intention. Like, are we meant to question this woman
I don't
as,
think so.
oh, well, she's a fucking idiot?
No, I think she's supposed to be a positive character, Joe. I think we're supposed. I know.
Okay, well, let's talk about some other characters that I had some very outsized reactions to, and I gather you did as well. So, Detective Simmons, he's hot. I want to like him because he's very attractive, and it feels like he's the go-getter. He's going to come in and he's going to break shit.
Barely a character.
He's literally introduced. So he comes in, he's new to the squad, he's new to this case. They're trying to catch him up on the details. And his response after being told about 2 pieces of evidence, or like, this is the MO, he just turns to his superior and goes, okay, blah, blah, blah. It's a lot of information on this killer dude. It's like a movie.
He is
What?
what? The worst. Like, actually the worst.
Yes.
Yes, buddy cop movies do the hot shot, kind of doesn't like to follow the rules
All
and the more by the
time.
book.
Yeah.
But the hot shot detective usually has good senses.
Mm-hmm.
They have good quips. Not this boy needs to go through some sensitivity training.
Oh my God.
He also needs to learn about false arrest.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why the older detective hates him, because he's terrible.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's actually terrible.
It works when this person is rebelling against an outdated culture, or, we need to save people and you're not moving fast enough. And it feels like this guy is just fed up with everything from the jump. Like,
Well, that's part of the issue. It doesn't feel like there's any urgency for these cops, even though there should be. Instead, he's just being really glib.
Yes. Yeah. I think I wrote in my review that all of these cops feel belligerent.
Yes.
Like they're just so impatient with everybody. You know, when we get to the motel, so we know that Darnell has gone there so that he can have his kind of psychotic break and talk to his other personalities because it's time to kill Asia and the kids. And they go to this motel and the guy's like, oh yeah, you missed him. I kind of cleaned up a little bit. And they lay into this guy in a way that isn't, you know, hey, we need to get in there because people's lives are at stake or anything.
And here's the thing. The motel clerk is like, because management rules, I cannot let you in there.
Yeah.
But instead, he's just like, well, I'm going to arrest you.
Yeah. It's like, for what? We haven't mentioned, but Asia has a queer-coded brother who's sad that he didn't get to participate in the nuptials, so he's kind of catching up in the same way that the oldest daughter is. But there's this moment where when they start to finally figure out, they don't know who Darnell is, but they connect Brett to Asia and all this other stuff. So they go to Brett, and Brett is like, what is happening? Is my sister in trouble? What's going on? And Detective Simmons just goes, I mean, we can give you an explanation or you can go and save your sister. And I was like, you haven't told him anything. Like, how do you expect him to react in this moment?
And there's no urgency. He could just be like, hey, the guy your sister's married to is a serial killer.
Literally that.
Where is she? Instead, I guess you don't care. Oh no, your sister's gonna die, dude. Like, why are you goading him?
Exactly. This guy has done nothing to you. And also, how should he know that there needs to be urgency because you have just shown up and been like, where's your sister?
Like,
it's like, I don't know, provide some details.
It's wild.
And then, okay, so I mentioned that I thought Detective Andrews was at least going to be different because we don't want multiple versions of the same character. But when we finally go to the house after Asia has basically done the cops' jobs by shooting Darnell as he was trying to kill her oldest daughter, Detective Andrews...
Oh my God, she's so antagonistic.
Yeah, she goes, you assumed he was dead, but you didn't wait to see?
I was like, what is this? Are these slasher movie rules?
Truly. I was like, I'm sorry, you're expecting this woman to have handled this? You don't want to say, should we get her some medical treatment? Should we congratulate her on saving her child?
Right. You don't want to be like, wait a minute. Okay, we got here literally after the shot happened, and he was shot and still got away from us. Maybe there's your issue.
Yeah.
Which again goes back to there's no way he could escape. Like...
We see the lights as he is getting shot. They should have been outside the door. Like, I don't even care. People get away from cops in movies all the time. Like, it's convention. And yeah, if you want to read this as akin to a slasher, kind of like the 2009 version, sure, let's go for it.
But not when you've been shot in the chest.
It would have made more sense if she had shot him in the shoulder or a leg or something.
Toe.
I have no time or patience for any of these cop scenes.
No, because they're terrible characters.
So little to the actual film. I was just so frustrated every time they were on screen. And it's an 85-minute movie. It's just, yeah. Like, I remember watching this and thinking, my God, how do you fuck this up so badly? Because it's not fun. Like, this movie should have at least been fun. It should have been silly. It should have been Taye Diggs is really going for it. And I can say that last one with authority. And the other parts, I'm just like, no, it's a fucking slog. It's an 85-minute slog, Amanda.
Oh, yeah. I am bored during the cop scenes because I'm like, these are terrible characters. They're not actually doing anything. I'm not learning information through them. And it would be much more fun to watch the daughter put together this information.
Yes. And it makes more sense for the kind of film we're talking about, because as you said, domestic sphere.
And that's the thing sometimes when we do remakes of movies, we feel like we have to make them bigger. That doesn't make them better.
No, as we kind of saw with the 2009 version, like that added runtime. I mean, I will say that movie looks like a fucking gem compared to this movie. So in retrospect, hey. But at least that movie kind of went bigger with some of the action set pieces, and it just felt, okay, yeah, this is a late 2000s film, and we just tried to amplify everything up. This movie, the 2026 version, doesn't feel like we amplify anything because I don't think we had the budget, and we didn't have the time when we were shooting, but also even the smaller moments, like, I think it would have been so much more powerful to have just kept things like Crunch everything so it's just within the house and keep that tension at a boil.
Yeah, keep it in the house. Keep it to the family. The domestic thriller is a genre unto itself, and people enjoy it. You do not need the cop characters. And that's what the original movie fully understood. This is not about the cops, because it's not... They don't matter. That's not what this is about.
No. We don't even have cops in that
Nope.
first film. We just have the brother, which again makes more sense. Like,
Keeps it domestic. Right, it keeps it domestic. It keeps it about the family.
yeah. It's honestly just really frustrating and disappointing, which is unfortunate because I think it could have been...
It could have been high camp.
Yeah. Okay, so one final thing before we sort of wrap this up, because now I'm just venting and you're putting up with me. We haven't addressed the racial element.
Yes.
So this is a predominantly Black film, and I felt like there's absolutely no recognition of any... Like, there's nothing unique or different. There's no commentary.
It's just a remake with Black people.
Right.
And it's interesting that our cops are also Black, so there's no commentary on racism in police. Nope. Yeah, no, it just is.
And to be clear, just because it's an all-Black cast does not, well, nearly an all-Black cast, it doesn't mean that the film has a responsibility to acknowledge that, but I do feel like it's a missed opportunity because this is the only Stepfather film of the three that really has a strong racialized component to it.
Well, and that's not even the original. Definitely, like, the whiteness is a factor. Like, that is a part of the Reaganism of it all, the 80s of it all. So the fact that we're just not addressing that, maybe this is also a factor in how the police approach this case. You know, in how other people respond to it. Like, there are things they could have done with this, like using, you know, the way Black people in this country are treated and what they have to go through. Like, after he beats up Timothy and Asia is dealing with that cop lady, like, that woman could have been a white woman, and you could have been, you know, dealing with how she is interacting with her and like the racism coming from the cop. But no, it's just like this stereotype of the sassy Black lady character.
Right.
Which is almost like makes this movie actually the racist one.
Oh, boy. And even that woman is treating Asia badly. Like, oh, well, I guess you were a slut because you have two men fighting over you. I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Right? I was floored by choices in this movie.
Yeah.
I just... Just truly. And you've now had to watch it twice.
Yeah, I mean, I guess thank God for that 85-minute runtime. But I will say, because we're now coming to a close on our John List books, we barely mentioned him at all because truly it's just like a family annihilator story.
We did not fact check. Yeah, there was no fact checks. There are no facts in this. None at all.
But I will say, of the three texts, I think that first one is fantastic. Like, cannot recommend it enough. And really, it's got that political commentary that I think we both gravitate to.
Yes.
Second one, fun, a little bit saggy, but it's got a lot of good moments. And I think especially the action, like, we've just got a bigger budget and we know how to use it. And then this one, it's like, only if you're a Taye Diggs fan. Only that.
And then, you know what? Maybe just watch his scenes.
Right?
Don't watch anything
you can jump over all the cops.
Yeah, make the 20-minute edit.
Yeah, give me a supercut of all of his choices. And for God's sake, let this man have more fun while playing villains, because I actually do think he's suited for it. But you're right. That scene where he commits that murder, he is scary. And then just break it into a dance party and eat a banana. Like, that was honestly the high point of this film.
Yeah, I want more of that.
Always more of that. Okay, well, folks, we will turn it over to you now. So we would love to hear, did you experience this film? Do you have a different ranking than us? So do let us know. You can reach me at Beast on my remote, and that's the letter B, or just Joe Lipset on BlueSky. Amanda, if they want to chat with you.
You can reach me through my website, amandajanestern.com. You can follow me on BlueSky, Instagram, or TikTok at Amanda Jane Stern.
Okay. And you can reach both of us at the show handle at murdermfiction or by email at murdermadefiction@gmail.com. And so we've reached the end of another month. but I am going to be taking my leave from the podcast. So this is going to be my last episode, and I'm going to bequeath you the reins. So you're going to take the podcast in different directions, new exciting directions. And where do you want to go next?
I have a lot of ideas, so I'm going to say it's a surprise. I will be switching to video and taking over the reins myself, particularly in the primers, and having guests on to discuss the texts.
Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, until Amanda's next exciting adventure, let's leave the murders on screen.